back to the judges. So, Humanity, what do you think of the packaging? John.
Well, I guess I actually want to say something different about Humanity, and this seems like it's come up a couple times in these products where we're talking about a cause, and I think even they said we started with the purpose and then the product, and I think that's like a common flaw with a lot of startups where they think that they can lead with the cause and then people will accept the product, whereas it's the reverse. You don't get the right to promote your cause or until you have a good product. Like that ultimately, like if there's product A that has no cause that's awesome and product B that is slightly less awesome and has a cause, like I think that's still a tough thing for a startup. And that being said, to answer your question, I feel like with the packaging, it just, it feels sort of like generic and, I don't know, easy, I guess. I honestly couldn't kind of figure out what it was, like just from afar when we were looking at it in the judging room. And I think that's, again, like people are never going to get to the point of caring about the cause just because, it's not an impactful package, honestly.
Can I tag on to that?
Sure.
I agree completely. The only exception would be I do love the idea of starting with a mission or purpose, but it's not, I'm just not getting the link and it's not clear enough. So if it is, was it Nika water or something that has a very specific goal, this water is going to build wells in Africa for kids that need it, that's one way to get a direct link. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it in the product or I think it's totally generic. So I just think you're not going to do your causes a great deal of good if you don't scale. And I just don't see the scalability here.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Chuck. You want to say
I work for a mission, or have worked for a mission-driven tea company called Honesty, and it started out with a purpose in mind, but it wasn't about supporting the environment, things like that. It was about providing a low-calorie, organic drink that was healthier for you, okay? And the confusing thing I do have about this, and I'm not as critical on the packaging, I think it's unique, I think it's expensive because there's so many colors in it, but I am going to say that it says 100% real brew tea, and that's great, and I think it's a high-quality tea product. It really didn't taste like tea. It tasted like fruit drink. Yeah. And I think the consumers that you're looking for, you say 100% real brew tea, they're expecting a tea taste, and it really didn't come out in the product. It tasted good. Just didn't taste like tea.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about True Brain for a second. Dwayne, what do you think about the messaging, the education that might be required to get this product, get that product and that brand out there?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's badass. This idea, if it really works, is a very, very big idea. My first question would be just that. Can you quantify it? How do you quantify it? You got to make sure this isn't another oxygen water or something like that. I need to know real data. If we're going to talk about, neurons firing and such, I got to feel really comfortable that if I'm buying this and squirting it in, that it's doing it. But if it really does do that, and you can convince me of that, this is a home run.
Mark, you want to echo on that?
Yeah, I would agree with those points pretty much exactly. I think I get the space. I understand the value proposition. I have a little bit of familiarity with the product. So I think there's something here. My question is dosage, back to the efficacy of it. But I think the business model I love, because I think we all get how difficult it is to build a beverage brand conventionally. So the idea of building direct to consumers, developing, and I assume that's what it takes, is a regular consumption pattern. I think that's the way to build, and I'd say stick with that until, if you're doing $1 million, stick with that until you're doing 10 before you try to go into conventional retail.
Cocoa Beet, John, the business strategy of going retail and wholesale, we've seen that a couple times in cold pressed juice. Do you think they have what it takes to make that work?
Well, look, I mean, as a disclaimer, like, we're from Boston. They're like the only juice place in Boston. I like Cocoa Beet. Certainly don't want them to go away because then there's nothing to. But, putting that aside, I think it's, I always have conversations with people who are trying to do what they're doing, and it's like, all right, well, how do I organically scale to, Suja? And we were talking about this before. It's like Suja can't even organically scale to Suja, right? So, I think, someone like this, I think it's smart just to stay focused. If you want to be about store, being a cafe type thing, I mean, that's certainly a great, business to be in itself. Trying to figure out when to make the jump to being a wholesale, distributed product. I don't know. I mean, does it have what it takes? Right now, everything I've had from them tastes really good. So, but how do you get the brand to be something that just exists on a bottle? Right now they have the experience of the store that they were talking about. So I just don't know.